If faith comes by hearing the Word, and the Word is not heard, what kind of faith will emerge in the emerging church? Why would I ask such a question? The answer? Because the emerging church is creating a famine in the land where the Bible was once taught.
Understand the Times with Roger Oakland, a radio program dedicated to equipping the body of Christ with biblical insights for contemporary issues. As an author and lecturer, Roger travels internationally, speaking on a wide variety of topics that'll help you understand and analyze events of the past, items which are in the news today, and even those events which are yet to take place in the future. Now, to help us understand the times, here's Roger Oakland.
Many people I meet at conferences who come from a wide variety of church backgrounds tell me that the church they'd attended for years has radically changed. Their pastor no longer teaches the Bible. Instead, the Sunday morning service is a skit or a series of stories. The Bible seems to have become the forbidden book. While there are pastors who do still teach the Bible, they are becoming the exception rather than the rule. So, why is this happening? Is this part of the emerging church agenda to reinvent Christianity? Emergent leaders were often quoted as saying that methods of presenting the message must change if we're going to be relevant to our generation. However, what happens if the message promoted in the name of Christ is no longer based on chapter and verse? Sound doctrine seems to be taking a back seat to a teaching that no longer offends those who are listening. The measure of success for many pastors today is how many are coming rather than how many are listening and obeying what God has said in His Word. Once again, in order to support what I'm saying, it would be helpful to examine how Doug Pagitt uses the Bible at Solomon's Porch. Quoting from his book, Church Reimagined, The Spiritual Formation of People in Communities of Faith, quote, "At Solomon's Porch, sermons are not primarily about extracting truth from the Bible to apply to people's lives. In many ways, the sermon is less a lecture or motivational speech than it is an act of poetry, of putting words around people's experiences to allow them to find deeper connection in their lives. So our sermons are not lessons that precisely define belief, so much as they are stories that welcome our hopes and ideas and participation." End of quote. According to Pagitt, the Bible is not about truth and doctrine, but about hopes and ideas and participation. Besides, rather than a pastor teaching the Bible, there should be equal opportunity to dialogue in order to come to a consensus of what the Bible might be saying. As Pagitt writes, "To move beyond the passive approach to faith, we've tried to create a community that's more like a potluck. People eat and they also bring something for others. Our belief is built when all of us engage our hopes, dreams, ideas, and understandings with the story of God as it unfolds through history and through us." End of quote. This potluck brand of Christianity that tends to take the Bible lightly has some serious flaws from a biblical perspective. While certain parts of the Bible may be read as poetry, there's much more to know than putting words around people's experiences. The Bible tells us that God is always right and man is almost always wrong. When we rely upon human consensus, we will end up with man's perspective and not God's revelation. This is a dangerous situation that has the potential to lead many people astray. I'm Roger Oakland. This has been a biblical perspective to help understand the times.
You've heard Roger warn against the so-called emerging church. Now you can read his book on the topic. It's called Faith Undone, subtitled The Emerging Church, New Reformation or Last Day Deception. Faith Undone reveals the origin of the emerging church and why uninformed evangelicals are falling for it. Your church will have to make the decision whether to embrace or reject this dangerous trend. But first, read Roger Oakland's book, Faith Undone. To order your copy, visit understandthetimes.org. understandthetimes.org.